ご視聴の前に一つお伝えさせてください。もしご覧になっている途中でご気分が優れなくなった場合は、どうか遠慮なくご視聴をおやめください。概要欄には相談窓口のリンクをご案内しております。今お辛いお気持ちを抱えている方がいらっしゃいましたら、ぜひ一人で悩まず周りの方や専門機関にご相談ください。
Now we're starting with flashback and memory recall of Shizuka's family, and sounds like the marital conflict Shizuka's mom and dad were having. And I can truly relate to this and resonate with me deeply, because me and my younger sister are also a byproduct and the result of a parental divorce. And according to every clinical literature, developmentally or otherwise, divorce is one of the most traumatic experiences for children. And it does count as one of the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences right here. Children with high ACEs score can predict their future health problems, mental health wise, physical health wise, comorbidities, heart disease, and so on. And divorce is very traumatic for children, because a lot of children like myself who are parentified right here, parentification, children who are raised as if they're parents, children who gave up their innocence and childhood to step up to the plate of a parent because of broken family. Children who are parentified, like myself, we internalize and we categorize parents divorcing as our fault. It must be me. I did something wrong, that mommy's leaving, daddy's leaving. But of course, it's never the children's fault. It's the parents as adults making their own choices based on whatever the circumstances. There's no judgment, but that is another reason why divorce can be even more traumatizing for children because of that impact. Oh, Chappie, when he was younger, Chappie RIP, dude. He was never revealed explicitly in the show, but obviously Chappie didn't go to Tokyo, where the father was, who not only forgot about Shizuka's existence, never told his new family about Shizuka, and he got a new dog and completely abandons Chappie, Shizuka, and even the existence of Chappie. But look at how adorable Chappie was. RIP. That was very deep. That's a callback to episode 1, where Shizuka is like, I no longer believe in magic, because what's the point? There's no hope. Nothing will change. This is the origin of that callback. I used to wish upon the sky and pray and wish that my daddy wouldn't leave. Even way before, when she was in 4th grade, which is the most recent 2016 timeline. I don't exactly know how old Shizuka is in that scene, but her innocence, her ability to believe in magic, fantasy, the good things, like making wishes, that ability has been killed, pun intended. Or is it too soon? Since she was young, because her dad never returned. And in the previous episodes, recently we learned that her dad flat out denied her existence. But can you even imagine that level of trauma and devastation for Shizuka, a survivor and a victim of so many trauma and abuses? Unspeakable. A quick capture of what Takopi represents, since this is the season finale. And I know I overanalyze and there's a lot of content in each video, so this is a quick convenience for everyone. Takopi evolved from originally representing toxic positivity syndrome, trying to invalidate people, although meanwhile, by trying to fix them, fix their mindset, throwing gadgets to the problem, hedonic pursuits, more, fix, things. But of course, things do not create happiness, relationships, emotions, holding space, acknowledging people, making them feel seen and heard. That creates happiness. Second, Takopi's original sin, disobedience born out of innocence, disobeyed its mother's wish to reset, rebirth, wiping out memories by escaping through the time clock that we saw in episode 5. That's disobedience, but also disobeying the rules of never lending out happy gadgets without supervision. It's gradual growth. We're reconciling with the consequences of killing Marina, learning that every action has consequences, There is a big difference between intention and impact. And we've seen some growth by Taco P because, as one viewer suggested, that Taco P's voice actor is known for voice acting for 3 to 5 year olds. And it's been very clear that Taco P is also a child or a baby developmentally per this pink octopus happy and alien species developmental stages. So obviously I've never faulted Taco P because it represents naive, but still innocence nonetheless. And it means well, it wants to try its best.
あら、マリナちゃんをハッピーにするため地球に戻ったのに、久世静香のハッピーじゃないんだっぴ。
何言ってるかわかんねえよ。異常に容量を得ないなお前。
だから静香ちゃん探しに行こっぴ。
僕はいけないよ。僕はもう久世さんには会えない。
Why?
お前と会うのもこれで最後だ。お母さんショックで寝込んじゃってさ。お父さんが戻ってきてくれてるけど病院どうなるかもわかんないし、これ以上迷惑かけられないんだ。
嫌だっぴ。行かないでほしいっぴ。僕と遊ぶの楽しくなかったっぴ。
Oh, Taco P's so cute. Nuh-uh, P. You're gonna make me so sad, P. Oh. Taco P's really cute. But did you see that Azuma blushed once again? Because remember what I talked about with Azuma. His self-worth and self-esteem is extremely predicated and reliant upon people's praises, people's approval. Because at home, his mother's love, the love that matters the most, is conditional based on achievements. So it's partial love. It's conditional love. Unbelievable trauma also for Azuma. And we've seen that shaping Azuma's behaviors, tendencies on and on again. But here, because of that, Taco P holding onto Azuma's hands, pleading him not to leave. Didn't you have fun with me, P? Azuma-kun? And that's why we see Azuma blushing, because he feels wanted. He feels belonged. He feels that he is a meaningful member of this relationship and community. Azuma just felt that he made an impact, a positive impact, and that Azuma felt that he matters. That's the one thing all humans are striving for. We matter. What I do matters. What I contribute to society matters. What I do for my family and friends matters. Being matters. Pun intended. And Azuma, again, here also demonstrates parentification, which is what I talked about in the introduction. Right here, again. Parentification means a child is forced to be parentified to step up to the plate of an adult, even though children should be children. Anytime we see children acting really mature, oh, you're so mature for your age. It's not really a compliment. Yes, adults use that as a compliment, but in reality, it's a display of trauma. Children shouldn't have to be mature. Children shouldn't have to be adults. Children should enjoy this fleeting, limited, short duration of period where they could be innocent, carefree. But Azuma here is, again, because of his parentified, by being constantly compared to his older brother, Junya, because of the conditional love and emotional and verbal abuse of his mother. Although Junya revealed that she tries her best, she tries to make all these pancakes the night before her shift because she's incredibly busy as a clinic owner and a physician. He here once again says, I cannot cause any trouble. I can't go look for Shizuka. I have to step up to be a parentified, even though my dad is back to help out the family. That is trauma. And we all know that Shizuka means greatly to Azuma, and Azuma had a crush on her for a long time. So this is not an easy task. And that's the cost of parentification. You're often forced to pick the happiness and the well-being of your family and others before your own. It's not good or bad. Everyone have different circumstances, but still trauma nonetheless.
僕はどうして今でも静香ちゃんに笑ってほしいんだっぴか。しくて僕は分かんないんだっぴ。
そりゃそうだろ。そりゃいいとこも悪いとこもあるだろ。お前だってバカじゃん。
That's awesome. What Taco P just said and Azuma's response is the central thesis and the main message of this entire series. Azuma saying that is actually not verbally abusive or hurtful toward Taco P. If anything, it's invalidating. Guys, oftentimes, it's not necessarily what we say, but how we say it. If you look at communications, it's 70% nonverbal, not what we say, not the words we use. It's the subtle cues that reveals more about what we're saying versus what we are actually saying. 70% is nonverbal. Only 30% of human communications is verbal, which is the words we use. In that sense, Azuma was actually validating and being very endearing. When you meet a stranger, you wouldn't call them stupid. You're overly polite and respectful and very nice with a stranger. But with close friends, with people who you're close with, you roast them, you diss each other, you cuss at each other. That's actually a sign of endearing friendship. If you know, you know. But that's what Takopi said. How can people be good and bad at the same time? How can I still want to see Shizuka smile even though she was bad? She hurt me so much. And Azuma is right. Of course we are both. Humans are complex. We cannot be judged by our worst attribute or the worst mistake. How many of you guys here, including myself, done something good and also bad? We can be a great husband, great boyfriend, great partner, great son. But maybe we're lazy at work. We skip out on work. We finesse too much. We don't really care. We're not the best employee. Or vice versa. We're amazing at work. Highly productive. Our bosses love us. Great performance review. Amazing grades in school. For those who are still in school. But maybe we're not the best boyfriends. Like I've had commitment issues for a long time because of my parents' divorce. I didn't believe in love. I didn't know love existed. Because the only thing I remember growing up for many, many years is my mom and my dad arguing and fighting, throwing things. They were never physically abused, but a lot of verbal and emotional abuses. And I remember hearing that as a child. So I was like, oh, love isn't real. I will never get married because why would I? They just fight every single day. So I had commitment issues until my wife. It took me many, many years of therapy, lots of hard work, lots of introspection, lots of self-evaluation. But now on the other side of healing is a promised land of hope and possibilities. So it's the same thing. We can all very be complex. So let's first approach anyone with non-judgments. Try to have a conversation because to humanize one another, we must have a conversation. Because the moment we converse with them, they no longer go from that person or they or he or she to, oh, this is a human being just like me. They have complex situations and circumstances and difficulties and invisible struggle just like me. We have to start with non-judgments. We have to humanize them first and then approach them with appropriate consequences. Because when they're doing horrible, cruel things, like what Marina did in the beginning, like what Shizuka was doing towards the end, there needs to be consequences. Not to be punitive, but so they learn. We call that consequential thinking. Learning about consequences is very important for that person as well. So they don't repeat the same mistake. They don't get outcasted by society. Not for the sake of punishment, but for future potential rehab. So humans are complex. Please, let's humanize one another.
宿題やってこないし。
Azuma is like, Shizuka doesn't do her homework. That's why she's bad. Oh, so funny.
じゃあどうして東くんは。
それでも友達だったからだ。お前は能天気でバカでゴミだけど優しい。
Jeez.
だからありがとうって言いに来たんだ。
Oh.
お前の道具なんだろ。勝手に持ってって悪かった。助けてあげようなんて思うのが違ったんだ。
No, it wasn't. Oh, that was so heartfelt. But again, I'm very confused. We see that the happy camera gadget that allows them to unwind time and I guess reset regrets, which is the main purpose of that camera, obviously was broken and covered with blood in the 2016 timeline. But here, the camera was spotless. It wasn't broken. And somehow Azuma took it without Takopi knowing. So which timeline is this right now? Oh, I'm so confused. Is this the 2022 timeline? Is it the alternative timeline? Is it the initial 2016 timeline? What is going on? But also, sounds like now Takopi has reconciled or rather consolidated all of its memories from all those however different timelines it has. I'm so confused with the timeline. But again, just an add note, of course, Takopi isn't stupid. Like I said, Takopi is a baby, a child based on its pink octopus happy in developmental stages or stages of development. So of course it's not stupid. It's just unlearned. It hasn't learned yet. It's ignorance, not because of stupidity, but because lack of exposure and lack of experiences. And Azuma is so well said. He loved spending time with Takopi and Shizuka. And some of those harsh words that Azuma is saying, you guys are like, damn, those were harsh. He was just projecting because he felt like he's an idiot. He feels like he's a worthless trash because that's how he feels with his mom at home. So that's how Azuma feels at home. He's useless, he's trash, he's an idiot. That's why he's just simply projecting that onto Takopi. But focus on the sentiment. Azuma came here to say goodbye and say thank you because he's had so much fun. What's the point of getting all A's and all these things if you don't have meaningful relationships? If when we look back in that chapter, whether it's at work or college or high school, if only thing remembers is stress, the pressure, the competition, sure, even if you did well, what's the point? Guys, at the end of the day, what a life is two things. Life is simply a series of long conversation. And life is just sequences of memories together. That is what a life is. So memories that we create matters. And how do we create good memories? By having meaningful experiences.
なんか目のやつ前と違うピね。人間は大きくなると目のやつ形が変わるんだピか。
買ってくれたんだよ。最後のバイト代でバイトクビになったから。俊也、大学行けないかもしれない。
What happened?
東くん。
What happened? Remember the last thing we saw was Azuma breaking down and finally emptying his stresses and venting and opening up emotionally to Chunya. I'm guessing that Azuma told Chunya about the cover-up, all of these tremendous stresses. I don't know if he included alien octopus Taco Peak because that's hard to explain, but sounds like Azuma came clean to Chunya because of the mountains of pressure, that invisible pressure that Azuma was so overwhelmed, as we all saw. Knowing Chunya, I will not be surprised that he took on the cover-up and actually maybe went to the police and covered up Azuma's cover-up as if he did the crime. That's why, because to not go to college, being number one in Japan, that is, you have to do some crazy stuff to not be able to go to college. And committing manslaughter or covering up dead body would definitely qualify for that. So that's my guess, that Chunya is taking a fall on behalf of Azuma because Chunya is such an amazing person and a big brother.
ハッピー星にはさ、時間巻き戻せる道具あんだろ。
How does Azuma know?
もしも次の僕に会うことあったら言ってやってくれよ。兄貴と喧嘩でもしてみろって。
Oh.
バイバイ、タコピー。
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Please tell the other version of me, don't be afraid of having fights with your big brother. What does that mean? Because arguing and fighting with your siblings is a normal part of growing up, period. But here, maybe he can't do that anymore because Chunya is no longer free. He is in prison.
助けてあげようとするだけじゃ。
Oh, beautiful animation. Whoa. 4 seasons, autumn, winter. Were those news article about Shizuka or was it about Marina? Yeah, who were those 2 girls missing? The kidnapping, was that referring to Shizuka and them? Oh, she still has Chappie's collar. Which timeline is this? Cherry Blossom, beautiful.
静香ちゃん、お話ししたいことがあるんだ。
保健所にチャッピー探しに行くの。
この人が悲しむっぴ。人を傷つけるようなことしちゃダメっぴ。大変なの知ってるっぴ。だから静香。
Oh, jeez.
じゃあどうすればよかったの？
I've never seen shows that uses purple, which is actually one of my favorite colors, violet, in such a dark matter, but here we are. I just want to talk about the significance of those stars. When they're embracing discomfort, stepping up to their potential, the stars represents us maximizing our potential that's being manifested. Takopi, for the first time in this season finale after 6 episodes, finally learned to validate emotionally validating Shizuka's unbelievably traumatic upbringing, all the experiences. I know you've been all alone. I know it hasn't been easy. I know you've been sad for so long. P. Emotional validation. Taco P's doing everything we as the audience know it needed to do. Instead of just trying to fix problems, throwing gadgets at problems incessantly, which represents a very outdated mindset and approach. That's the sparkle of light. Taco P finally evolved and is displaying emotional growth. But of course, Shizuka is not about it. That's why we're seeing Shizuka's facial expression getting darker and those sparkles turn into purple. This pressure, this depression, this darkness. The light literally turned dark. That's the metaphor for darkness. And Shizuka steps on it saying, what should I do? Also, I don't know. I mean, I guess Taco P's are pretty malleable. It's pretty cushy. So it's not taking too much damage from me stepping on. But of course, we're seeing again Shizuka's transformation as a victim to a perpetrator of violence, because as a victim of violence and she never sought help. And unless you seek help, you will never interrupt and break this cycle of vicious trauma, violent trauma. Because her people, as I've said it throughout.
知らない人みたいな顔で私のこと見てたお父さん、どうすればよかったの?
So this is the original timeline where Shizuka almost struck rock or hit Taco P with a rock. Maybe Taco P escaped last minute out of survival instinct, but sounds like this is the original 2016 timeline because Shizuka is saying that her dad denied her existence, which again, unspeakable trauma. I can't even imagine as a young child, your biological parents is denying you that you ever existed. Wow.
一人で船に乗っちゃダメって言われたらどうすればよかったの? ママが帰ってこなくなった時はどうすればよかった? ノートがなくなったらどうすればよかったの? 臭いって言われてもどこが臭いの? ママ教えてくれなかったじゃんねえ! パパと好きな時に会えなくなったらどうすればいいの? 授業参観誰も来なくなったらどうすればいいの? どうしたらいいの? ねえ、こういうこと誰に言えばよかったの? 誰も私のことなんて見てなかったじゃんねえ全部一体どうすればよかったってお前言ってんだよ
わかんないっぴ。ここには難しくってわかんないっぴ。
叫んなよ。なんだよそれ。
ハッピー握手だっぴ。ごめんねしずかちゃん。何もしてあげられなくてごめんぴ。でもいつも何かしようとしてごめんぴ。しずかちゃんの気持ち僕全然わかんなかったのに。
Right there. I know this is a very, very emotional and significant scene. I'm sorry for always trying to do something, even when I had no idea what to do. That's bingo. That's another central theme of this entire show. Taco P never just learned to hold space. Taco P didn't learn the importance of validating, acknowledging someone's pain, holding space, and trying to see and hear through Shizuka's invisible struggle. That's why we need to be seen, because when we are heard, when we are acknowledged, when we are seen and felt, our invisible pain and struggle becomes more visible, becomes a little bit more manageable. Still very overwhelming and still very difficult, and there's a lot of work to be had, but become just a little bit more manageable. And that's what Taco P is saying. I'm sorry, I never fully understood. And I just want to shout out Taco P's growth, tremendous evolution. This is this gratifying feeling I'm getting when I watched Violet Evergarden series, which I finished, seeing Violet's tremendous growth from where she started to the amazing doll she has become. I won't spoil the plot besides that in case other people haven't checked it out, but I'm feeling this proud big brother feeling. I had that with watching Violet Evergarden, and I'm having that now with Taco P. And just Taco P's growth can be boiled down to one thing she just said. I don't know P. Our ability to be humble and accept that we don't know everything, we will never fully grasp and understand the other person's trauma, pain, suffering, and unique circumstances Unique means only they will fully understand. No one else. We can try our best, but we will never fully grasp the gravity of what another person is going through. I don't know. Sounds useless, but it's not. It's actually one of the most powerful things Takopi could have said. Because Takopi is acknowledging that I'm not here as a savior. I'm not here trying to fix your problems, just like I've been trying uselessly in the past. I don't know, but I'm sorry that you're going through all the pain. I don't know, but I'm here sitting with you in this moment, holding space. You can keep hitting me with that sharp rock, but I will not leave you, Shizuka, using the happy handshake by locking her in. So profoundly beautiful and deep.
話聞かなくてごめんぴ。何も分かろうとしなくてごめんぴ。静香ちゃん、一人にしてごめんぴ。うるさい。静香ちゃん。
Oh man. That was rough. I'm not going to say too much because that scene encapsulates everything I just said. But we see the fruit and the effort of Takopi coming to fruition and being validated. Shizuka, for the first time in her just unbelievably stressful, traumatizing youth and life, for the first time in Shizuka's life, she felt seen for the first time, feel heard for the first time, feel validated, feel seen, and felt accepted for the first time. Despite the physical abuse, despite the misplaced violence, Shizuka just learned and felt firsthand that she is not alone. Takopi is the first companion besides Chappie who did not leave Shizuka. Despite the ups, despite the downs, through the power of physical touch, through the power of hug and physical space, Takopi just demonstrated to Shizuka that, hey, I don't know, but I'm here with you. You've suffered alone enough. You've suffered long enough, but you will never suffer by yourself ever again. Why? Because I am here with you. Shizuka putting down the rock, that is such a profound portrayal of her finally letting go of violence, trying to do the first step of interrupting this vicious trauma loop. She now just made her first steps to retransform back from a perpetrator to a victim to now hopefully seeker of help. Because victim can also be an identity. That's the victim mindset. And this is very tricky, but I'll say this before resuming. Please hear me loud and clear. This is a very delicate statement. All of us are victims of circumstances that are larger than we are, that we call life. But we don't have to be victims of our circumstances. We have power. We can choose empowerment, rely on our community, our friends, our own Takopis in our lives, professionals, mental health experts. All of us are victims of our circumstances, but we don't have to be or become victims. We are much more than victims of our circumstances. All of us have endless possibilities, renewal, and chances and hopes and possibilities if we can interrupt our trauma loop and step out to seek help to get better, as long as we do not give up. That's what we're seeing right here, beautifully so.
ごめんね、静香ちゃん。
Oh, beautiful song. Sorry for muting for copyright, but beautiful, beautiful song. We see that it's kind of hard to see, but if you zoom in onto Shizuka's face, you can see her mouth is wide open. That means she's been sobbing and crying nonstop. And I can't even imagine how cathartic that was and how much healing Shizuka took away from this releasing and cleansing session. She pretty much just had a pseudo therapy session with Takopi, because doesn't matter what sort of modalities and specialties and training and schools we psychotherapists go to, but our first thing and the first pillar and the first duty that all good psychotherapists do is riding that emotional wave without judgments, without giving advice, just riding that emotional wave out. No matter how difficult the circumstances our clients are going through, just riding that wave, walking that path of pain together in solidarity. That's the primary job of a psychotherapist. And that is what Taco P did for and with Shizuka. Beautiful. Oh. I like how well prepared, just how meticulous Azuma is. In that secret notebook that we just saw, he even had a fail-safe 500 yen. So, and obviously they use that to buy bread and so on because mom's not coming home, sounds like. Obviously dad is still absent as usual. But again, the focus is now Shizuka's is walking her life. Despite the unknown, despite the uncertainties, despite other pending challenges, because life is comprised of challenges, period. But she's not doing it alone this time. She's doing it with Taco P. And we're even seeing Taco P using her pink alien arms and cutting Shizuka's hair, I guess, sitting at the bench. So heartfelt. Again, this show has, just like K-drama, has mastered just dopamine dump, dopamine hijack, just emotional ups and downs. It's like tsunami of emotions. I literally cried. I cussed out of excitement. Now I'm laughing because of how wholesome and comical the show can be. The show's mastered the ingredients of capturing our attention. I really hope this show wins the animated of the year. It's so deep. Such a powerful experience. They're at the sea.
静香ちゃん、僕幸せだっぴ。それで
Shizuka's still crying. Imagine the years of pent-up frustration, learned helplessness, powerlessness, hopelessness, and whatever other words you want to add in. Imagine the unfathomable amount of emotions Shizuka's been pent up and holding it inside. She's releasing all those years of pent-up energies and sadness and brokenness. It's such healing for Shizuka. I'm so happy for her. And Taco P, the true main character of the show.
実は静香ちゃんに見せたいとっておきの道具があるんだっぴ。
So real quick, obviously Taco P is now going to show Shizuka another happy gadget. Sounds like this, the camera. Some people might be wondering, oh no, Taco P's back to its old days, trying to go back to fixing, providing gadgets, throwing things at problems. Not quite. I never said trying to offer solutions and trying to be helpful, trying to problem solve is bad. I never said that. I just said it's missing a crucial ingredient first. We first must validate, hold space, be an emotional companion first. And then, when it's appropriate, based on the situation and how the other person feels, and then if the other person's willing, by getting consent, we call that informed consent. We do that as psychotherapists. Before we try to do clinical interventions, before we try to offer solutions or resources or fancy techniques, we always ask, or at least I do, I always get informed consent. Informing the clients about what I'm about to do, what this is about, and by getting the consent that, hey, are you open for this? No pressure. I'm all about proposal or proposing, but I never impose because I am the expert of what I do, but clients and individuals are always the experts of their own lives, full stop. That's what Taco P is doing. After the emotional validation, after all that healing that took place, now Taco P is like, hey, by the way, I just want to show you something. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
ハッピーカメラ。
Happy camera.
今は壊れちゃってもう動く。
Oh, it's still broken?
でもね静香ちゃん、実は思い出してたんだっぴ。一つだけ僕だから君にしてあげられること。
待って。
僕のハッピー力、これを犠牲にすれば
待って。
もう一度だけカメラが使えること。
待って。タコピーまでいなくなったら。
What the?
一緒にいられて
Goosebumps.
幸せだったっぴ。本当に欲しいものが手に入るように。静香ちゃん、ありがとう。一緒に遊んでくれて。
What?
あの時、缶をくれてありがとう。
Holy guacamole, mother of God. Whoa, I did not see that coming. Holy crap. I literally just talked about there's nothing wrong with being helpful and offering solutions and problem solving after emotional validation. I never thought Taco P to the other extreme. The peak of being helpful, the peak of problem solving, peak of love, self-sacrifice. If you're old to my channel or new, welcome both, of course. But as some of you guys know, my background is I'm a Christian. So a lot of my perspective is based on the Abrahamic Judeo-Christian perspective. Again, I never impose my perspective. Like, I don't know if God is real. I can never prove. There is no empirical evidence because I'm a social scientist. But to me, believing in God is helpful for me, to inspires me to a better person, better neighbor, better husbands, better son, better bigger brother. That's why I choose to believe in God, despite there is no empirical proof. But hey, as long as you're a good person, you're living your life in a meaningful way, who cares, right? But I'm only talking about my background because self-sacrifice is the highest virtue of love. And let me make this loud and clear. Love requires sacrifice. If anyone says they love something or love someone, you need to sacrifice. So anytime anyone that says I love you or I love my friends, prove it. Love requires sacrifice. Sacrificing time, resources, energy, some combination thereof. And the highest virtue of sacrifice is actually self-sacrifice. Sacrificing our life. That's the virtue that Jesus demonstrated. Jesus sacrificed his own life for the sake of sinners or other people. That's the core principle of Christianity, which is what I believe in, right? So again, whether God is real or not, doesn't matter. The point is self-sacrificing, sacrificing our own being and our life for the sake of other people. That is the highest, that's the pinnacle of love. That's what Taco P just demonstrated. And I'm seeing a lot of references and even Easter eggs, pun intended, with Taco P's original sin and Judeo-Christian perspective. I talked about it in episode 3 when I predicted correctly the meaning behind the original sin, disobedience. Just like Adam and Eve disobeying God's commands of not eating out of the Garden of Eden, which is the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Because when Adam and Eve bit that forbidden fruit of knowledge by disobeying God's commands, they fell from innocence and grace. They learned about greed, lust. Knowledge is not a bad thing, but it comes at a cost. For Adam and Eve, it's the cost of their innocence. Same thing for Taco P. The original sin is the disobedience, and it lost its innocence. That's why I learned about the cruelty of the human experiences, but also the joy of the human condition. And here, self-sacrifice. This is definitely a nod to Jesus and the biblical or the theological perspective I talked about. But that's what Taco P demonstrated beautifully. It sacrificed its own life by transforming its life into the happy power for one last time to unwind happy camera so Shizuka can go back to the time with Chappie. Taco P laid down its life to fulfill its mission, to spread happiness and to see Shizuka having the biggest smile, to see Shizuka smile again. It's so amazing what Taco P did. But of course, at the same time, that could be another trauma for Shizuka. She is abandoned yet again. But thankfully, with this rewind, she won't remember that timeline and the entire thing is reset. So that trauma has been, I guess, avoided. But wow, I did not expect this. This show is crazy, y'all. Unfreaking believable. Episode 6 is called To All of You in 2016. So now we are at a new timeline that is in continuation of the original 26 timeline, I'm guessing. How's Taco P talking or communicating with, where is that voice coming from? Chappie's back. What is going on? Where is this voice coming from? So yeah, this is a deja vu because this is the original plot and timeline. And the fact that Marina said that you're not wearing the flower and A shout out to that viewer. I forgot your name because there's so many comments. You said that this specific flower in Japanese floral culture represents resilience. That's amazing. Thanks for pointing that out. And I do read all my comments because you guys share very, very insightful thoughts and context about the show. So it's such a fitting flower design for Shizuka because Shizuka and Marina, although in a very dysfunctional, broken way, they both represent resilience. Children, survivors of trauma, endurers of trauma, are all resilient, just like many of us. Many of us are more resilient than we give ourselves credits to. So the fact that Marina is like, oh, you're not wearing the flower today means Shizuka's known about Takopi, and Takopi already existed in this original timeline, which we know. Because I think 6 days prior, that's when Shizuka found Takopi in that little sewage pipe, if my memory serves me correctly.
あれ今日はって 君の話もしなきゃだっぴね、東くん。
それで昨日兄ちゃんと喧嘩して。
東くんちプレステ4あるの？
あるけど。
すげえいいな。
We see this. Oh, this is amazing. I'm guessing the way this episode is gonna close out and to wrap up season 1 as a season finale is Takopi being the narrator, which is an interesting transition because Takopi is the protagonist, because Takopi is the one that witnesses all this happening through a different perspective, and then to now Takopi is the narrator. It's almost as if Takopi is now breaking out of this 4D dimension and becoming like viewers, but even a step further by narrating all this happening from this 30,000 perspective view, almost like a god in a weird sense. But it's almost like the ending is like all these happy endings. I think all of these stories, like Marina stopping her verbal abuse and berating Shizuka when she's like, I said today, is also Marina maybe getting better at her bullying tendency, and now Azuma feeling belonged, finding other friends besides Shizuka, carrying things outside of just grades and appeasing, and trying to seek the approval of his very conditionally loved mother. By talking about PS4, we saw that spark, that star in Azuma's eyes. It's like, oh my gosh, they want to play with me. And it's so funny that out of the whole story about I got into a big fight with my big brother for the first time yesterday because PS4. And all the other kids like, PS4? Oh my gosh. Because as we know, Azuma is from like an upper middle class affluent family because his mother is a physician. And PS4 is very expensive, especially for a lot of children with lower socioeconomic statuses. So I think we're seeing all these happy endings and all these through lines and strings being connected. That's amazing, actually. Wow. Whoa, that's a cool animation.
そう、君はいつも一人だった。そして、それは君も同じだった。
Marina, also been
いい加
alone.
減にしろよ寄生虫。お前がいるからママは毎日泣いて、パパは毎日怒って。
Also, I just want to pause because it's not a pleasant sight to see, obviously, bullying, seeing Marina, who's broken, bullying and beating the crap out of another broken person, Shizuka. It just hit me. Just like now, Takopi is a narrator who's the observer of everything happening. All these abuses, all these bullying, all these situations in the playgrounds. What was there the whole time as a constant? Time. And what is the representation of time in this show? The clock. So I think that clock symbolizes a witness, a constant witness to everything that is unfolding.
全部お前のせいだ。全部返してよ。あの頃のパパとママを。
Oh gosh.
私の家族。
ごめんね。
Huh? What just happened?
マリナちゃん。何それ。わかんない。なんか適当な。
Catastrophically stupid.
ゴミクソって感じ。でも何かしそう。
Whoa, goosebumps.
絶対帰んないの。
Hold on, does this mean that through the picture of Takopi, again, did Takopi influence Shizuka to draw that Takopi doodle with the supernatural power, the happy and alien power? But it looks like after seeing Takopi's doodle, memories are coming back to Shizuka and Marina because everything they're talking, it's garbage, it's utterly useless, but it talks endlessly, it follows you, it's cute. You see what I'm saying? Sounds like the memories are coming back. Sounds like their memories were activated, which is a very psychologically sound, by the way, because like I said before, memories are not quite recalled because it's not really stored in like a physical storage space like a CPU. It's through synapses of our brains, neurons firing, right? It calls back and reconstructs different memories based on smell, taste. When you have a delicious food, it might remind me of your cooking your grandma used to cook for you or your mom used to cook for you. When you go to the beach for your first date with your girlfriend or boyfriends. When you go back many, many years later, as husbands and wives, or even as a friends, the memories come back. Euphoric recall, definition right here. So stimuli, things, sights, triggers and activates our memories. That is what's happening here. Through the doodle of Takopi, their memories are activated. And although they don't quite really sure what this catastrophically stupid doodle is, hilarious terminology, their memories are coming back because they're describing Takopi as if they've known Takopi all this time.
何もしてくれないのに喋ってばっか
そうそう
Happiness is born through talking, and this is exactly what I said previously. To humanize one another, we must have a conversation. And what is conversation? Talking.
それが一番大切なこと
Oh.
僕が忘れてしまっていた一番大切な約束
So Takopi's original sin is disobedience, but it broke the core principle of happiness. Happiness is born out of talking. And we saw the mother, it was also hurt emotionally because Takopi never talked to the mother before the escape. Talking, conversations, having a dialogue. Conversations and talking is a bridge that connects humans, connects different relationships. Without talking, without conversations, there is no relationship. That's the title?
してあげられないことだらけだ 何にもできないけれどそれでも君が
You just have some eye boogers.
君が大人になれるようにありがとう
Arigato.
バイバイ
Bye bye.
何見てんだよ
Just project what Takopi just said onto a massive messaging board. I hope you're not alone. And I hope you grow into adulthood together. What does that mean? I hope you stay alive. I hope you live. I hope you don't give up. I hope you never give up till you see the day as an adult and knows that it gets easier eventually as long as we stay alive. And even if it doesn't get easier based on your complex circumstances, that's okay too. But as an adult, you have more resources, you have more abilities, and you have more resilience and capacity to deal with the struggle that you once thought were impossible to deal with and manage as a child. I hope you step into the adulthood together, Marina and Shizuka. And I could foresee Shizuka and Marina becoming best of friends. And I could relate with this. I went through a lot of bullying in high school as well because I was one of the only 2 Asian kids in my white school. I went to a boarding high school in San Diego. And I was bullied a lot my freshman year. I was chubby. So that was another reason for bullying. My English wasn't really as good because I didn't come to the US until I was 15 years old. So I was bullied a lot. But I learned that a lot of bullies are also hurt people who are neglected at home, who are lonely, who are suffering, like everything I talked about. That's why I know bullying so well. That's why I know psychology behind bullying so well. Not just because of my clinical expertise as a psychotherapist, but also because of my own first-hand experiences. But some of the harshest bullies I've went through, I was dumped into trash can, right? I was just went through a lot. Some of them became my best friends through conversations. I asked, why are you doing this to me? And I learned that, oh, they're also hurt themselves. They were lonely, just like I was, because I was a boarding high school, 4,000 miles away from my parents. And I could see the same thing happening with Shizuka and Marina. I think they're going to become best of friends because they're both broken. They both come from broken and dysfunctional family. They're both lonely and alone, but no more through the love and emotional maturity and growth of Takopi.
なんでもない。
See, they're walking home together. Wow, I don't think I've ever clapped after a show recently. Oh my gosh. Let's see. All right, looks like there's post-credit scenes. What was this? Learn from Marvel series? Cherry Blossom, Beautiful Blue Sky. They look like they're older now. Chappie's
だ
back.
からさ、うち今日ママヤバそうだからケーキ買って帰る。マリナちゃんのママいっつもヤバいじゃん。
Oof.
誰のせいだと思ってんだよ。お前んちよりはマシ。
Yo, did you see Shizuka just literally dodging Marina's kick? First of all, that reflex. But secondly, it means they've been really good friends and companions for a long time. Because Marina used to kick Takopi, right? In that 2022 timeline. Yeah, it means now Shizuka has acclimated into Marina's, I guess, style. And that's why she was able to dodge with ease. But look at them. They're venting together. They're sharing. They're very intimate with each other. I called it. Now they're best of best friends.
これなんかに似てない？
Takopi!
土星ウサギのボールペン。
What? Did you see Marina's scar? Yo, I just got goosebumps. So even with different time traveling in different universes, some strings of events are inevitable. Sounds like Marina still inevitably gets cut by broken glasses by her mom. And sounds like today is a rough day. But again, it's so much more bearable and manageable because Marina is not alone. And Shizuka is also no longer alone. They have each other. A growing community of unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. Because you deserve to be loved. I deserve to be loved. All of us deserve to be loved. We are worthy. We are humans. And we matter. Oh, Takopi's playgrounds. Oh, just another round of applause. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, nothing to be said. I don't even know. I'm going through a world of emotions, whirlwinds of emotions. Episode 1 was brutal, but then I immediately caught on and saw the thesis and the main point of this show, how deep it is, how psychologically sound and accurate it is. I could gauge the amount of extensive and deep research the writers done. I'm sure they consulted with psychologists, psychotherapists like myself to make this as accurately, as relatably, as deep as it is. It's truly amazing. It's such a powerful show. Yeah, I loved finishing the show with you guys. I appreciate you finishing the show with me. I hope you took away from my insightful analysis because I don't do shallow content. I really want to educate people, but also be entertaining at the same time. Can you do me one favor before you leave? Make sure you're subscribed so you receive and see my videos in your time feed. Otherwise, you will miss out on my next series. Also comment, what's one thing that you're taking away from my video? And do you have any other questions? And I will be sure to respond to your comments with more resources and whatever questions you may be to continue help you and provide you with valuable education and information. Till next time, appreciate you and peace. Remember, you matter. Please don't give up. You deserve to be loved.
ハッピーエンドってね。今日のセカスト翻訳ポイント。このコーナーでは動画内のセカストの翻訳を一部取り上げ、なぜそのように翻訳したのか、その意図を解説するコーナーとなっています。はい、このシリーズも最終回です。今回取り上げる単語はこちら。
Resilience.
早速ですが、どの場面で使われたのか見てみましょう。
You said that this specific flower in Japanese floral culture represents resilience.
はい、この花言葉のくだりでした。今回の動画も全体の文章の翻訳や言い回しを悩んだところは数多くありますが、一つの単語に対してどう訳そうか悩んだのはここです。では、例のごとく辞書を引いてみましょう。 まずは英日辞書の英字路を引くとこうなりました。変形されたものが元の形に戻る。復元力、弾力、病気、不幸、困難、苦境などからの回復力、立ち直る力、復活力という意味が出てきました。他の英日辞書も引いてみましたが、他には元気、活力と記載されているものもありましたね。では、また例のごとく、英英辞書も引いてみましょう。
The ability of people or things to recover quickly after something unpleasant, such as shock, injury, etc. The ability of a substance to return to its original shape after it has been bent, stretched, or pressed.
と出ました。まず最初に出てきた定義をざっくり訳すと、怪我やショックなど不快なものから素早く回復する人の能力。そして次の定義はこんな感じ。引き伸ばしたり押しつぶしたりしたものが元の形状に戻っていく能力ということですね。やはり例英辞書の方がイメージがつきやすいと個人的には思います。この定義を見た上で2つ翻訳の候補が頭に浮かびました。1つはしなやかさ、そしてもう1つが折れない強さでした。この2つで迷いましたし、正直どっちでもいいような気もしました。おそらくしなやかさの方が元の単語の意味に近く、さらに言えば花が持つイメージにも近いと思います。それでもセカストは結局折れない強さという翻訳を選びました。その理由はまずしなやかさという日本語には上品で優美な様子という意味もあります。そしてその後の文脈を見てみると、トラウマを耐えてきた子供たちに対してもこの英単語が使われていました。そういった辛い体験をしてきた子供たちに対してしなやかと形容するのはセカストの中ではミスマッチに思えました。よって最終的には折れない強さと翻訳しました。花が持つイメージとはちょっと離れてしまいましたが、何度も苦難を乗り越えてきた人に対する称賛の言葉としてはこちらの方がいいのかなと思ったのです。もちろん他にもふさわしい言葉はあるとは思います。他にも良さそうなものがあったらぜひともコメントで教えてください。さて、本当は他にも翻訳を紹介する予定でしたが、今回セカストは忙しかったせいか、何を思って翻訳していたのかほとんど記憶がありません。なので代わりに字幕の豆知識的なものを紹介します。皆さんは洋画や海外ドラマを見るときに字幕に句読点が使われていないのに気づいたことはありますか？そうです。字幕は基本的には句読点を使いません。しかし句読点が使えないと文章のリズムを整えるのが難しいですよね。そこで代わりに使うのがスペースです。基本的には点を半角スペース、丸を全角スペースで分けて使っています。これはこのチャンネルの動画に限らず、皆さんが映画館や配信サービスで見る海外作品の字幕にも同じことが言えます。厳密に言えば句読点とは使用法が異なることもあるのですが、それを言い出すと長い話になるので省略します。なので皆さんは半角スペースは点、全角スペースは丸の役割だとざっくり覚えてください。そうすれば洋画の字幕を見た時にどこで文章を区切っているかの目安になります。まあそんなことを意識しなくてもプロの方の字幕はちゃんと視聴者にスッと入る内容だと思いますので、そういえばスペースは半角と全角で違うんだったなと退屈な映画に遭遇した際にふと思い出していただければ幸いです。以上、翻訳コーナーでした。また会う日までこのコーナーともお別れです。それでは皆さん、さようなら。 それでは今日出てきた英単語を振り返ってみましょう。
marital。
この単語は結婚や夫婦関係に関するという意味の形容詞です。マリエージ結婚から派生した単語で、 法律的心理的な文脈でもよく使われます。配偶者の有無や夫婦問題などが代表的な表現です。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
They went to counseling to work on their marital issues.
彼らは夫婦関係の問題を解決するためにカウンセリングを受けた。
Please indicate your marital status on the form.
フォームにあなたの婚姻状況を記入してください。この作品に登場する夫婦はどれも何かしらの夫婦間の問題を抱えていましたね。離婚は子供にとって大きなトラウマになるらしいですが、長い目で見ればそうした方がいい夫婦もいると個人的には思います。
Developmentally.
この単語はデベロップメンタルの副詞形で成長や発達に関連してという意味です。心理学や教育、医学の分野でよく使われ、特に発達の遅れがあるなどの専門的な表現に登場します。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The program is designed to support children who are developmentally behind.
このプログラムは発達が遅れている子供を支援するために設計されている。
Developmentally, the brain continues to mature into early adulthood.
発達の観点では、脳は成人初期まで成熟し続ける。タコピーは、ハッピー成人的な発達段階で見ても、おそらく子供なんだろうという考察がありましたね。加えて声もなんだか棒ハムスターな感じらしいので、それを考慮してもやっぱり子供なんでしょうね。
Step up to the plate.
この表現は野球から生まれた表現で、直訳するとバッターボックスに立つですが、比喩的に困難な状況で責任を果たす、行動を起こすという意味になります。勇気を出して行動するニュアンスがあります。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
It's time for you to step up to the plate and take responsibility.
そろそろ自分が立ち上がって責任を取る時だ。
She really stepped up to the plate when her team needed her the most.
チームが一番彼女を必要としていた時、彼女は本当に立ち上がった。家庭環境によっては子供らしさを捨て、親の役割を進んで担うというような文脈でこの表現が使われました。特に英語圏の国では子供に大人の役割を任せることに対して強い抵抗感があるのかもしれませんね。
Predicate.
この単語は文法的には述語を意味しますが、動詞としては何々に基づく、何々を断言するという意味があります。フォーマルで学術的な場面で使われる語です。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The theory is predicated on the idea that humans are rational beings.
その理論は人間が理性的な存在であるという考えに基づいている。
He predicated his argument on solid scientific evidence.
彼は確固たる科学的証拠に基づいて自分の主張を展開した。東くんの自尊心は褒められたり、認められたりすることに強く基づいているというような文脈でこの単語が使われていました。連議上、ここではちょっと直訳っぽい感じにしましたが、詳しくは動画で振り返ってみてください。
Manageable.
この単語は制御できる、手に負えるという意味の形容詞です。仕事の量、状況、問題などが無理なく処理できる範囲であることを表します。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The workload is heavy but still manageable.
仕事量は多いが、まだなんとかこなせる。
Breaking the project into smaller tasks makes it more manageable.
プロジェクトを小さな作業に分けると、より管理しやすくなる。どれだけ辛いことも、誰かが寄り添ってくれれば、解決はしなくてもほんの少しだけ対処ができる。そんな話がありましたね。ちなみにこの動画も、制作が大変ではありますが、なんとか対処はできています。多分。
Virtue.
この単語は道徳的な善、人や物事の長所、価値を意味します。倫理的な文脈でも使われ、善と悪のような対比表現にもよく登場します。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Patience is considered a great virtue.
忍耐は大きな美徳とされている。
He turned his weakness into a virtue by learning from it.
彼は自分の弱点から学ぶことで、それを長所に変えた。自己犠牲は愛の最大の美徳というような文脈でこの単語が使われていました。確かに自己犠牲は尊いものなのかもしれませんが、相手に強要してはいけませんね。ブラック会社がよくやる手口なのかも。
Sacrifice.
この単語は自分の大切なものを他の目的のために手放すことを意味します。宗教的な文脈では生贄、日常では自分の時間快楽利益を犠牲にするという意味で使われます。ヒーローものや感動的なシーンでよく登場します。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She made a huge sacrifice for her family's happiness.
彼女は家族の幸せのために大きな犠牲を払った。
Sometimes you have to sacrifice comfort to achieve your dreams.
夢を叶えるためには、時に快適さを犠牲にしなければならない。タコピーは最後に自分を犠牲にして、静香ちゃんを過去に戻していましたね。ちなみに私はこの英単語を遊戯王で覚えました。カードゲームとかで、よく使われる単語なのかもしれませんね。
For the sake of.
この表現は、誰か何かの利益や目的のためにという意味の表現です。少しフォーマルですが、感情的な響きもあり、自己犠牲や努力の動機を語るときに使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
He quit his job for the sake of his health.
彼は健康のために仕事を辞めた。
Let's keep quiet for the sake of the children.
子供たちのために静かにしよう。タコピーは静かのために自分を犠牲にしてハッピーカメラで過去にタイムトラベルを試みていましたね。第1話を考えたら、ここまでできるようになるなんて、すごい成長だと言えますね。
Resilience.
この単語は、困難や逆境から立ち直る力を意味します。心理学ではストレス耐性とも訳されますが、物理的に弾力や復元力という意味でも使われます。近年では、心の強さを表すポジティブな言葉としてよく使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Her resilience after the accident inspired everyone.
事故後の彼女の回復力は皆に感動を与えた。
Building emotional resilience takes time and self-awareness.
感情的な回復力を育てるには時間と自己認識が必要だ。翻訳コーナーでも紹介した単語ですが、前述したように立ち直る力のようなイメージが強い単語です。何度も踏まれても、めげずに立ち直ろうとする花のようなイメージが、今回ではふさわしいのかもしれません。
Catastrophically.
この単語は、カタストロフィックの副詞形で、非常に深刻な破滅的な結果をもたらす様子を表します。自然災害や事故、システムの失敗などに使われることが多いです。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
The mission failed catastrophically due to a technical error.
技術的なエラーにより、その任務は壊滅的に失敗した。
If the dam breaks, the town will be catastrophically flooded.
ダムが決壊すれば、その町は悲惨なほどの洪水に見舞われるだろう。マリナはタコピーの絵を見て壊滅的にバカっぽいと言っていましたね。とても面白い表現ですが、小学4年生にしてはかなり詩的な表現なのかもしれません。ひょっとしてマリナちゃんは成績優秀なのかも。
Activate.
この単語は機械、装置、システムを動かす、 または感情や反応を引き起こすという意味です。科学技術分野から心理的表現まで幅広く使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
You need to activate your account before logging in.
ログインする前にアカウントを有効化する必要があります。
The alarm was accidentally activated during the storm.
嵐の間に警報が誤って作動した。今回は感情や反応を引き起こすという意味でこの単語が使われていましたね。人間の記憶は脳が活性化してるんたらかんたらという話がありましたが、実を言うとよくわかっていません。専門外なのですみません。
Doodle.
この単語は考え事をしながら無意識に書く落書きを指します。軽い暇つぶしや創造的な思考の象徴として使われることもあります。名詞でも動詞でも使えます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She likes to doodle in her notebook during meetings.
彼女は会議中によくノートに落書きをする。
His doodles on the napkin turned into a great design idea.
ナプキンに書いた彼の落書きが素晴らしいデザインのアイデアに発展した。静香ちゃんとマリナちゃんはタコピーの落書きを見てかすかにですが、タコピーのことを思い出したようでしたね。静香はなぜあのタコピーの落書きを書いたのでしょうか。皆さんの考察をお待ちしています。